Hey everybody, Dino Journal here once again. Today, I'm here to present another use case of our eXtendOrders custom order configurator for promotional products, distributors, and suppliers. Today, I want to focus on the distributor context and use of this application. So in this use case scenario, I'm going to be presenting a single sourced order where I'm going to be procuring both the blanks as well as the decoration or embellishment of the product from a single supplier. So I've got this order that I've begun entering some body level information for this university. And down here in the details section is where we bring in our custom order configurator rather than using the NetSuite native line item entry. So I'm going to go ahead and start building my dynamic configuration of what I need this supplier to produce. So I'm going to bring in here and search for a mug from Hit Promo, and I want to bring in the white mug with the red inside. And I bring that mug in here and I've got my vendor pulled in automatically. I'm going to pull a quantity. My cost is my purchase price I have on contract with that supplier. And then I've got a recommended gross profit of 34% to set my sell price. Now, I could potentially allow the dynamic setting of this gross profit percentage or the price by the salesperson or person who's entering the order. So if I knew I wanted to hit a 40% GP, I could make that change and it's reflective in the price. So I have a little bit of flexibility in terms of how I can control that. And then obviously the purchase price or that cost, unit cost would be a lockdown field. But for the purposes of my demonstration account, everything's sort of open as you see it here. But I'm capturing the product. I've set that 40% GP. I'm going to mark that as done. Now, if there were any surcharges that applied as to the product itself in terms of a less than minimum or a rush charge, I could apply those here by selecting those surcharge items. But then we need to move on to the decoration details. So in this situation, because it's all coming from the same vendor, we've already got Hit defaulted in here, and Hit's going to perform a silk screen on this mug, and it's going to be on a side one. So these methods and locations right now, you see these are full lists. These would be, in an ideal world, be curated based on the product selection that was specified under the item, and it would only present the relevant imprint methods and locations that would apply to the product select. But right now, once again, I'm wide open, so I'm showing everything under the sun here. So I'm doing a silk screen on side one. I'm going to choose my number of colors. You'll notice by default in the lower section of the screen, when I came into this UI, it automatically knew that I had my total quantity of 500. So it knows I'm going to have at least one setup with a quantity of 500. And I could have preset margins, costs, and cells on these as well based on different configurations. But the minute I come into the color selection and I make that a 2-color job, you'll notice what happens in the lower portion of the screen is automatically I've bumped that setup up to 2 setup charges, and I have a first run and an additional run to match and get both those colors embellished onto that mug. So now that I've captured the number of colors, I need to specify what colors those are. Supplier side mechanics typically are based more stringent off of color lists, but because on this side in the distributor land, things are a little bit more loosey-goosey. Salespeople might be entering these or customers may be providing these. So we typically roll with a free-form capture here. If there were color lists that they wanted to choose from, we could configure those fields just like we did on the supplier demonstration. When it comes to imprint size, these could be dimensional figures, 3.5 by 3.5, or they could be simply using just some verbiage to max or maximize the available imprint area. Then when it comes to bringing in artwork, this is where our extend files plugin fits into the equation here as well, where new artwork file can be automatically added or selected from what's on file. So if I knew I had artwork on file for this customer and I want to bring in their logo, I can just simply select it from here and it brings in that artwork link. And similar to what I had at the item level, I can also have surcharges at the decoration level. These could be proof charges or copy charges that could be applied to the decoration as well. And each of these could potentially have a margin with set cost and GP on this as well. Once all of those details are captured, and if I had additional locations, if I was doing a side 2, I can just simply hit the plus sign and do a side 2 location. Or if I had another product on this order, I would repeat the process of adding a new product and adding the embellishment detail. But at the end of the exercise, once I capture everything that I need within the configurator, ultimately what I need to do now is create those NetSuite native line items to go upon and execute this order. And when those line items are spun, now you see what we have. The end result here is we have the quantity of 500 of those mugs, the white with red. And we've got our setup charge, our two different setups actually, for one for each color. We're doing a side one imprint with silkscreen, 2-color job in red and black. And we've got our first run and additional run charges all on here. Because this order is already set to pending fulfillment, not pending approval, when I go to save the order, I'll automatically generate the PO with all of these line items to send off to HIT. All right, so now I've saved my sales order, and you could see the purchase order that generated as a result of it is right here. So if we go ahead and crack open that PO, we can take a look at this transaction and how it would potentially be rendered to that supplier. And here we have it. So we've sent this purchase order. We're sending it over to HIT, who's going to ship to our end customer, Illinois State University. We have our ship date and hands date specified on there. And we have all of our line items, including the product and the embellishment details for the two setups, side one, silkscreen, 2-color job. We've even embedded a link to the artwork so it can be readily accessed from that link within the PDF form. If you found today's video useful, helpful, and informative, I'd encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our blog, follow us on social media, and continue to learn more ways to help better leverage your NetSuite investment. Thanks for watching.